The one thing I saw from last night that popped out to me is like, man, if Pascal Siakam were to be traded to the Dallas Mavericks, I think the Mavericks win a championship in the amount of time that Pascal is on that team. Whether it is, the 4-year max, whatever it is, I really do believe that he completes that team in such a way that they would win an NBA championship. That's how much I believe in that particular fit. Now, I don't know what the details are. I don't know what the trade would be, but ultimately, I think it would be pretty damn good with Pascal on that team, with Luka, with Kyrie, with Lively, Grant, all those guys. I think it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I really think that Pascal sort of perfectly checks every box that Dallas needs to address. I mean, when you look at, for Dallas, I think, well, let me just focus on Pascal. The defense and the offense and the size and the playmaking. He really does check every single box, and he would slot right into the starting lineup. One thing that Dallas has struggled with over the last couple of years is lineup changes happening, not just because of injuries and availability, but because, does this group work best together? Is there too much offense, not enough defense? And so you bring Pascal here, assuming it would include some of the young guys, Tim Hardaway Jr. You can kind of do the math on who would be involved there. And you would very clearly be left over with a lineup of Luka, Kyrie, Grant Williams, Pascal Siakam, and Derek Lively. And there would be no questions on who should start, be no questions on, what's going to happen. And I think that, Derek Jones Jr. has been phenomenal, but he would be in that second unit, bringing the size, bringing the defense, bringing energy. And so I think for Dallas, this is an opportunity, or it would be an opportunity for them to really add size and then also add a third person who could go get their own shot. And so having Grant Williams and then having almost like, I don't want to say an idealized or like a more complete version of Derek Jones Jr. that has all these other aspects to his game. That would be
just like a wholly better player than Derek Jones.
Complete, more like well-rounded, just the playmaking. The
I mean, dude, you're adding an all NBA guy, right? Like it's not even
huge for this team. And I really do think that, like going back to this last draft when they were able to add 2 first-round picks to add it to the young core of Jaden Hardy and Josh Green, it put Dallas in a position where, okay, you may not have a treasure trove of picks, but now you've got 4, and I think Derek Lively is very clearly becoming sort of untouchable. It may be a little early to say that, but it's not for me. But the rest of the guys, intriguing young players that can be included in a package to go make this next move. And we're already seeing a bit of a logjam because Seth Curry is not even touching the floor. And so for Dallas, the Tim Hardaway Jr. contract, even Maxi's contract, Rashawn Holmes' contract, Dwight Powell, Dante Exum's contract, there are many moves and a lot of money that they could put together to find a different combination to go out and get someone like Pascal. So I do think it would really just be a matter of what the other offers are. And if Masai is moved by a Dallas offer, because in my mind, if he's available and you're the Mavericks and you are very aware of what your weaknesses are, there is quite literally no argument as to why you should not go for Pascal Siakam. And I mean, to me, like going back to what you said about the age, the mileage, to about to hit 30, like Dallas doesn't need to be hitting on the guys that are 23, 24, 25. They need to be hitting on the guys that are like 28, 29, 30. That's how you get.
You're trying to win title. Now. Yeah.
You're ready to win now. So for me, like that is not too old. You got to kind of push your chips in and Dallas, you and I talked about this, is Dallas is not, the free agent destination necessarily, similar to how some people talk about Memphis. You make your trades.
This is how they
sign
operate.
People. Yeah. This is how you operate. And so I think that for Dallas in the past, you've seen Nico be aggressive. There's no reason to assume that would just all of a sudden stop. So I'm not saying that the Mavericks are getting Pascal Siakam, but it's definitely something that I think you should keep your eye on because the money would work. Dallas has assets that I think Toronto would be interested in, and it does seem to work on paper pretty well. So it's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on.
And he had a pretty good audition game, if we're counting it as an audition game. He had a very, very good audition game. I mean, I hate to be the guy to do that type of stuff because, like, I'm probably just reading into it too much. Mm-hmm. But the fact that his breakout performance was against a team that probably could use him the most, it's just it's interesting to me.
It's very
You know what I
interesting.
mean? And it felt like they were prioritizing him a little bit more. They were involving him a little bit more in the offense, showcasing him a little bit more,
If
if
you
you will.
will.
So I don't know, man.
We'll see.
I could see a situation where this works. And my main thing is like, you look back at how the Mavericks traded for Kyrie Irving last year, right? They were in a
Yep.
position where they didn't necessarily have the cap flexibility to go out and sign him in the summer, so they had to trade for him.
Yep.
They were willing to trade for a guy like that. Oh, by the way, even despite all the Kyrie Irving noise, they actually signed him to an extension as well. So
Yep.
I ultimately think this is how the Mavericks like to operate. You mentioned the free agency stuff. That's a big part of them saying, hey, instead of us going out and throwing money at Monte Ellis or whatever, right? Let's
I like that. I like that throwback. Okay, sorry,
right?
keep going.
Let's go out and trade for a guy that we like, and then re-sign him.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, for all the reasons you mentioned, Pascal does complete that team in a major way.
Yep.
And yeah, he would be awesome. Like I think of Pascal on the Mavericks, and this is no shot at all to him at all. But what he would be serving as is what Aaron Gordon was to the Denver Nuggets.
You took the words out of my mouth.
He's a much better player than Aaron Gordon. He's an all-NBA player, all-star level player. But just in terms of what his utility would be to Dallas,
completing
would be,
a team. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Look, doing everything on the dirty side of things, defensively, being a menace, dunker spot, help type guy, everything you could imagine that Aaron Gordon does. He does that, but times a million. And I just think he would be perfect for this team. He would help out a guy like Derek. He really is a perfect fit.
I know.
And I do think, to your point, there are some things the Raptors would be interested in. Maybe Josh Green, a guy that they liked at the draft, is someone that they would be interested in. I think Jaden Hardy pairs well with guys like, Scotty and whatnot. Again, I don't know. Maybe the Raptors like the Canadian Omax, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? I have no idea. But I do think it'd be a good fit. I think he will be one of the more sought out players in the league this year. So maybe you have your competition.
100%.
But also, it's just tough to see because, there's all those rumors. And by the way, like, I will confirm that Pascal has been unwilling to sign extensions with other teams. There was a deal that was in place with Indiana. That didn't work out because he didn't want to sign an extension. There was a deal that was in place with Atlanta. Some things fell out with DeJounte Murray, but also Pascal wasn't really willing to re-sign there. Now, where does he want to re-sign? Where would he want to go? All indications say that it's Toronto or nothing, but maybe a contender, maybe a place like Dallas where, hey, I can play with Luka and Kyrie. I could potentially win a championship in the next couple of years. Could be a good spot, I think inevitably there's only like 5 or 6 teams that make sense. We talked about it offline a little bit, but there's like Golden State that makes sense. Philadelphia, I think, somewhat makes sense, although we kind of went back and forth on like how viable of a trade package that is.
But still, definitely.
Yeah. Dallas, I think ultimately the Lakers are interesting with how they're struggling this year. Miami might be able to get, I don't know, but like ultimately a lot of teams are going to go after Pascal. I think the Mavericks have a really good chance too. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch the full episode, the link is in the description of this video so you can check it out. We'll see you guys there.